It looks like Black Panther 3 might actually become one of the most promising projects in Marvel's future, especially after the latest updates. And honestly, it's a relief to know that Marvel isn't rushing it this time, because let's face it, the studio's been in a bit of a rough patch lately. After the massive success of the Infinity Saga, the Multiverse Saga hasn't exactly lived up to that same excitement. Some fans have even started to drift away, saying the newer phases just don't have the same magic. But there are still a bunch of bright spots that have kept people hooked, and the Black Panther movies are right at the top of that list. The first film was a phenomenon, both culturally and critically, and when Chadwick Boseman passed away, it hit fans and the entire Marvel team deeply. But to their credit, Marvel managed to honor him beautifully through Wakanda Forever, which carried the story forward while paying respect to his legacy. Now it seems Marvel's ready to return to that world again, but this time, they're taking their time to do it right, and honestly that's a good sign. The thing about Black Panther 3 is that it's both one of Marvel's most mysterious projects and also one of the most anticipated. After all, with the Infinity Saga over, only a handful of major heroes are still around to guide the MCU forward. Black Panther remains one of the most compelling ones, especially since it's not just about one superhero anymore, it's about a whole nation and a legacy. When Boseman's T'Challa was introduced, he seemed like he'd be a major pillar of the next phase. But after his passing and the story shift in Wakanda Forever, things have changed a lot. Now Shuri carries the mantle, M'Baku has taken the throne, and Okoye is off doing her own thing. The world of Wakanda has expanded far beyond one man, and that's what makes it so fascinating. And with T'Challa's son being introduced at the end of Wakanda Forever, it's clear that his legacy isn't gone, it's just taking a new form. That's part of why Black Panther 3 is such a big deal. There are so many directions it could go, and Marvel seems to be aware of the pressure to get it right. Thankfully, from everything that's been said so far, they're not rushing into production. Instead, they're building it with care, and that's exactly what the story deserves. Kevin Feige, who has been steering the MCU for nearly 2 decades, seems to be letting certain directors and storytellers take ownership of specific corners of this universe, and Ryan Coogler, who shaped Wakanda and its mythology, is right in the middle of it. When Feige was asked about the Black Panther 3 timeline, he mentioned that he and Coogler already have a plan mapped out. That's a really good sign because it shows they're thinking long-term. Even if there's no official release date yet, just knowing they're taking their time to plan everything properly gives fans confidence that Black Panther 3 will be worth the wait. It also says something bigger about where Marvel is heading. As the Multiverse Saga wraps up, there's a chance for a bit of a creative reset. Movies like Avengers: Secret Wars are expected to shake up the universe so much that it'll almost feel like a soft reboot. That's where Wakanda could play a huge part, because no matter how the multiverse mess settles, it's hard to imagine a future MCU without it. Looking at Marvel's current lineup, there's already a lot coming. Fantastic Four: First Steps, Spider-Man: Brand New Day, and Avengers: Doomsday are all expected in 2026, with Secret Wars following in 2027. And beyond that, there are other big titles like Armor Wars, Blade, Shang-Chi 2, and even a new X-Men movie reportedly in development. But with all that on the horizon, it feels unlikely Black Panther 3 will arrive before 2028, and that actually makes sense. Because before that, we'll be getting Eyes of Wakanda, an animated series set to explore more of the nation's history on Disney Plus in August 2025. That show could easily build up the mythology and even plant seeds for what we'll see later in Black Panther 3. And placing the film after Secret Wars could be a smart move. It'll give the MCU time to reestablish its footing after such a big event. Plus, it'll allow Wakanda's next chapter to feel like part of a new beginning. After Secret Wars, Marvel's universe will likely look very different. New heroes, new worlds, maybe even new rules. So having Wakanda emerge from all that chaos as a key player would make perfect sense. It could also open up exciting crossover opportunities. Imagine seeing the Wakandans team up with the Fantastic Four or even mutants. But that kind of storytelling needs planning and patience, and that's exactly what Feige and Coogler seem to be focused on right now. Marvel has learned the hard way that throwing too many characters or storylines together without a clear direction doesn't always work. So this slower, more deliberate approach feels refreshing. It shows they want to craft a meaningful story instead of just another blockbuster. Now, speaking of stories, Black Panther 3 already has the perfect potential storyline waiting for it. Back in the 2009 Black Panther comics, there was an arc involving the Lion Cult, a secret group inspired by the ancient warrior N'Kati, who was known as the Lion. Their goal was to overthrow Wakanda while T'Challa was on his deathbed, and they even summoned Morlun, a vampire-like being who could drain the power of the Black Panther. It was an intense story full of betrayal, mythology, and spiritual themes, basically everything that makes Wakanda so captivating. In the comics, Shuri ends up taking on the mantle of Black Panther to stop them, which would tie nicely into where we last saw her in Wakanda Forever. The only catch is that T'Challa's death has already happened in the films, so the timeline would need some adjustments. Still, the story's themes fit perfectly: power struggles, legacy, and the balance between tradition and change. And thanks to Eyes of Wakanda, which is set to dive deep into the country's ancient history, this cult storyline could easily be set up in the MCU. The pieces are already on the board. But there's another major element adding excitement to all of this: Damson Idris. The Snowfall and F1 star has been the subject of non-stop speculation lately about possibly becoming the next Black Panther. The rumors really exploded after he showed up alongside Angela Bassett at the Vogue World Hollywood event, where both of them wore outfits that fans thought looked distinctly Wakandan-inspired. Photos from that event show Idris standing next to Bassett, along with MCU stars like Danai Gurira, Jeff Goldblum, Laura Harrier, and Elizabeth Debicki. That lineup alone got fans talking, but what really fueled the fire was how naturally Idris seemed to fit in with that group. Some fans online even commented things like, "Welcome home, T'Challa," and "My King," basically declaring him the next in line before Marvel's even confirmed anything. When Idris was asked in an interview if he'd want to take on the role, he didn't dodge the question. He simply said, "If they asked, I'd say yes." That's not exactly subtle, and it's made fans even more convinced that he's being lined up to step into the role somehow. Now, obviously, Marvel hasn't said anything official, and it's unlikely they'd straight-up recast Boseman's original T'Challa, but fans have come up with a clever theory that could make Idris's casting work perfectly. They think he could play the grown-up version of T'Challa's son, who was introduced in Wakanda Forever's post-credit scene. The kid's name is also T'Challa, T'Challa II, and this would be a respectful way to carry on Boseman's legacy without erasing what he built. There are a few ways Marvel could pull that off. One idea is that a multiverse rift, maybe something that happens during Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars, could somehow fast-forward time for the young prince. So when we see him next, he's an adult, and that's when Damson Idris steps into the role. It's a clever mix of emotional continuity and practical storytelling, and it would give the MCU a chance to restore a grown-up Black Panther without feeling forced. If Marvel does go this route, it could open the door for a new era of Wakanda stories, where T'Challa II grows into his father's legacy while facing a whole new world of challenges. With Shuri still around, along with M'Baku and Okoye, it could also explore how Wakanda adapts to a post-Secret Wars world that's probably going to look very different. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.